special guest this morning, Alec Almuina from Midland, Texas, our new franchise owner out there in Midland, Odessa, and Lubbock. Alec, welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, JPAR Nation. Happy Wednesday.
Tell us a little bit about, how did you get into real estate? Why did you eventually invest in a JPAR franchise? Give us the little backstory.
Definitely. So I had the advantage of getting into real estate pretty early on. I started my classes when I was actually 17. Fresh out of high school, I was doing college and high school at the same time. I got my associate's degree at 17, and everybody was really pushing me to take the traditional college route. But it felt more of a push to do kind of what society said I ought to do. And I really wanted to do something with sales. I really fell in love with real estate just because it is sales, but it's more of a people business, and it's a number business as well. And, just naturally fell in love with real estate because, I'm a people person. I love people, I love numbers. And so naturally it just fit right. Didn't want to sell Kirby vacuum cleaners or sell cars or anything like that. And so real estate became the natural fit. I got into real estate at a really interesting time just because it was sort of a boom, but also Trek was really shut down because it was in the midst of Hurricane Harvey. And so I had a really hard time getting licensed just because Trek wasn't giving out a whole bunch of licenses. And so I really had to sell myself really early on to eventually convince them to submit my license, which is an awesome story in its own. But I started fresh and green as a broke 18-year-old college student, still living at home, and just fell in love with real estate. I started off as a solo agent in a brokerage that was more of a, here's a phone, here's your desk and a bullpen, go have fun. And so it was a sink or swim from the very get-go. And looking back on it, I think I really appreciate that, seeing some of the benefits now being at JPAR and getting to teach some of our newer agents that's not really the way to learn. If you can start off on a stable foundation, that'll just benefit your business even more. And so it's been a great intro. I started off as a solo agent and then growing it into a group and now a brokerage. We just had our anniversary a couple months ago. So really great.
Well, happy anniversary. Now, have you always been, let's say, I don't want to say a maverick, but at 17 years old with peer pressure, it's pretty hard to be the person to say, I'm not going the way the crowd is going. I'm going to go this different way. Did your parents instill that in you? Did that come naturally, or did you just make a decision to say, I'm going to carve my own way in this world?
I really, my parents obviously pushed me to do what they felt was best. I think my parents encouraged me for the most part to take the traditional route just because I think that's what they were always taught. Do the college route, get your bachelor's, finish out your degree. I did have some really great mentors that were real estate and real estate adjacent. Some of my mentors were home builders. Another one of my mentors was in mortgage, and now he manages our division in DR Horton. And so everyone together helped me to see that you don't have to take the traditional way if you don't want to. But because of the school that I was at, just being able to, I did high school at a college campus. And so it was taboo not to continue out your degree after that. And so I even had a senior support teacher tell me, Alec, why don't you pick something more realistic? Real estate is more of a part-time gig. And so it was tough in the beginning. I was able to carve my own way, but I think once I started to see some of these new relationships and then also my business as its own entity come to fruition, it just made more sense and motivated me to continue on.
So yeah, that's so motivating and inspiring, I think, for all of us to hear. Tell us just a little bit about, Midland, Odessa, Lubbock. Now, I will share, Alec, I do have the definitive list of every country western song with a city name. So if somebody wants my playlist, I'll send you the link. But Midland, Odessa, Lubbock, these are amazing markets. Is that where you grew up? Why Midland, Odessa, Lubbock?
Yeah, so I was actually born in Houston, a little bit north of Houston, the Woodlands, but I was raised here in Midland. I started kindergarten here in Midland, and just being an oil-driven town, I was born into real estate during the last boom, and I think that's a really unique privilege. Just now seeing the crazy sellers market in so many different areas, I've been there, done that. So that's been really the main reason that Midland, Odessa has become my foothold. And then expanding now into Lubbock and some of the neighboring markets just seemed to make sense because we really needed, there's a lot of great teams out there, but none of them are JPAR. So we really wanted to extend our foothold just so that way we could have some great and interchange and great relationships there in Lubbock.
Yeah, because at JPAR, we have a higher standard.
Exactly. Exceed expectations. Absolutely right.
Now, one of your expertise as you and I are getting to know each other is listings and gaining listings and training others to get listings. In any market, that's a great skill to have, but in this market, it's a particularly great skill to have. What advice would you give us about working with consumers who are maybe on the fence about selling and gaining new listings in this tough market?
I think there's three main reasons that are value, value, and value. There are so many agents now, and thankfully in the Midland Odessa market, we're still considered a neutral market. We haven't hit that strong sellers market where we're seeing significantly above asking price. And so for our market specifically, I think it makes sense to become educated first. We're still charging 7%, and that's unheard of in our market and many other markets, and we continue to earn it. We signed a listing agreement yesterday and a few others the prior week before, just because we feel that providing value first, even before you even get that listing agreement signed, just shows integrity as far as our business. You know, I'm old school. I still believe in the handshake deal. But we do listing agreements, of course, because that's what Trek says we're supposed to do. But I think with upholding that integrity and upholding that value standard, people are willing to pay more. I believe that price only matters in the absence of value. And so that's probably the first thing that comes to mind.
Love it. Value, value, value. You know, I think Tony Delgado's on. We had an agent once. We had a major listing agreement with a builder, and it was a handshake, and I think written on a napkin.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there is some things just back to a handshake and a handshake and a deal between two people.
Yes.
Well, as we wrap up this episode, what's the best way for folks to get a hold of you? Maybe they have referrals to send out into the Midland, Odessa, Lubbock area. How do they get a hold of you and your team?
Absolutely. So please, if you haven't already, follow me on Facebook here. By phone is the best method. 432-517-5408 is my phone number, and I'll put it there in the comments. Just, reach out, text me. Whether it's a one-on-one training, I love to do Zoom trainings one-on-one with listing agents and buyers agents as well. So Facebook Messenger is great. By text is great. Give me a call. I'm everywhere. If you aren't able to get any of those, Google my name. I'm the only one in the world. So my number is pretty easy to find.
That's awesome. Love it, love it, love it. And post that into the JPAR. We'll post this video. It's live. Put it in the comments on Facebook as well. Now, I would like to leave us, Alec, and everyone in the JPAR Nation with this fact. In 2020, only 13% of consumers reused their previous agent. This is according to the latest NAR study. The same agent they used in the past. That means 87% of the people did not come back to us. How can any of us let that be? How can that stand? And so my challenge for each and every one of us today is, what are the things we can do, like Redibs in Texas? It hasn't expanded outside of Texas yet. I think they're getting ready to go to Florida. But what are the things that we can do, like the Home Actions newsletter that's available to you inside the JPAR app? The Home Actions newsletter has a new artificial intelligence bot that will give you some early indications that someone may be more likely to sell than others. So there's a number of things out there. There's also still the handwritten personal note, the phone calls, the staying connected. All of these drip campaigns we're doing is not a relationship, right? Right, Alec?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think relationship first. I saw a similar stat the other day that 20% of the agent did not remember the company that they signed with. 80% remembered their name. And so I think building relationships first and foremost, you'll get that repeat business.
Yeah. So let's leave it with this. If you haven't spoken with one of your past clients, someone from your sphere, in the last 30 days, you're not in a relationship with them, right? I mean, that's just
Absolutely.
the facts. So let's get all over that and change that percentage. Let's for JPAR flip that percentage, where 87% are doing repeat business with us and lead the industry in repeat business. That's the message for today. Alec, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This was great.